They have to give him medical treatment if he needs it, right?
No,
No?
no, because
Dude,
there's no
okay, I was
medical.
driving down Lone Tree, bro, and some dude was just tweaking, and he ran out in the middle of the road, and the fire truck went lights and sirens. They stopped, and they went and held him.
Yeah, because the alternative is this motherfucker gets creamed,
Yeah,
and then that's more work for us, bro.
that's a good point.
Bye then, bro.
It was rough. I'm like, oh shoot, I haven't had a body like that for a while. Like for
I have never
months.
had a body like that.
Months.
Like, most of the fucking 10.55s that I have are, like, fresh dead.
When I was 19, I was going to community college, but I started to get burnt out of that, and I'm like, I need to do something with my life. And I always figured that I like handle pressure well, so I said, you know what, let me try EMT school, and then I never looked back. So I finished the classroom portion in December of 2019. Literally, my first day at the hospital in 2020 was the first day that California announced that they were going to do the shutdowns because of the coronavirus. And then because of that, it took an entire year of just sitting around for me to start back up. As of right now, we're understaffed in the ambulance service because there's no new paramedics to sign up and work because everyone got delayed. Even just on its face, right? It's long hours. We don't get paid as well as we should be. It is a dangerous job. Like going lights and sirens is actually really dangerous. Running like stoplights and stuff. Now where I work it's pretty dangerous because we've had a lot of instances of EMS personnel getting assaulted. One of my coworkers 6 months ago got shot on a call.
Emergency crews were responding to an injury at the corner of Auto Center Drive and Sycamore Drive. Then someone else drove by and shot them.
So many people get into EMS as like a stepping stone, right? Like a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to become an EMT to like get experience before I go to nursing or go to med school or what have you. Or like a lot of like EMS in general is just a feeder program for most fire departments. Depression and PTSD is definitely rampant. Like you could especially see in like the older cats, right? People that have been doing this for a while, like because the stereotype of them is like that they're old and like salty, right? That we call them all like salty. But that's because like they've seen a lot. Like their view on life is skewed. Like I've been doing this for 4 years and I can already see that I'm jaded compared to like a regular human being. But to be doing this for like 25 years, dude, I can only imagine. You have to keep in mind, like, what I do is I am there for people typically during the worst days of their lives. But that is just a regular shift for me.
When I was younger in my career, like, I really loved working in the big city because it's the big city, right? Like, it's fucking tight, right? Like, for the rest of my life, I get to say that I was a fucking EMT in this big city, right? But there's something about working on an ambulance, working in the 911 system where not only do you live, but you also grew up. There's something super rewarding about that, you know what I mean? But then also too, it's not like I live and I work in this fucking like boring ass small town, right? No, dude, this town is popping. Like, there's fucking shootings and stabbings every fucking day. We utilize helicopters every fucking day. Dude, it's tight.
It's a source of excitement for you.
It is a source of excitement. It's a source of excitement, and then, like, I don't even have to feel guilty about it because, like, ultimately at the end of the day, right, like, I am actually helping the community that I grew up in. You know what I mean?
It's definitely a traumatic job. That's why, like, I've noticed in myself, I tend to gravitate more towards people that are in a similar line of work because it's just easier to talk to people about this, you know? because like I don't see a therapist or anything, but like how I deal with what I see is I talk to people, just let it off my chest, you know.
They got one in the library at LMC. When I measure my dick and it comes out to be 6 centimeters, that sounds fucking huge, right? I'm like, what kind of life decisions led you here? Like, I really want to just sit there and talk.
I really like spending time with my coworkers or like people in a similar field, like off duty, like to go get drinks or something, because like the things that I can joke about with them are things I would not be able to joke with a normal person, because they're gonna look at me like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know what I mean?
I've seen people go through burnout, and I've seen people come out of it, right? But then some people that I think that should leave are the ones that got burnt out and then never left the burnout. You know what I mean? Like, one of my favorite partners that I worked with, there was this like year-long stretch where like I worked with him and like I could see like dude's like just burnt out, like nothing excites him anymore. He gets like annoyed by these patients before we even make it on scene. You know what I mean? But then I worked with him again recently and he like brought that, he got that like motivation back. And I love to see that. I love to see that. The status of EMS now here in 2021 is what nurses were like in like the 1970s. You know what I mean? Like back then, nurses had like crazy ass ratios. Like there would be like one nurse to like 25 patients and they just had to suck it the fuck up. And they had no respect from patients. They had no like lunch breaks. They had no benefits. Their pay was ass. But then a lot of the nursing unions consolidated and actually put in work to better their conditions, and that's why like nowadays, right, like being a nurse is a cush ass job, right? Good benefits, really good pay. Grand scheme of things, not that much schooling. Actually, it's the same amount of schooling as it takes to become a paramedic, right?
But there's a lot less paramedics in the world.
There's a lot less paramedics. You know why? Because nobody wants to become a paramedic to what? Go through 2 years of schooling to make like, depending on where you work at, like $20 an hour. And that, like, on the national level, $20 an hour is good. There's some parts of the country where you're a brand new paramedic, you make minimum wage after 2 years of schooling. Versus you go to 2 years of nursing school, and straight out the gate, you'll make like $45 an hour with baller ass benefits. Nurses fought to get to where they are now. I feel like it is our time to work to get to that point. Now, it's rough because so many people get into EMS as like a stepping stone. Everything that I know about the union, I've had to learn on my own through talking to other people. Because like, yeah, ultimately I don't see myself making a career out of EMS. I love it, but I'm not gonna make a career out of it. But ultimately, I want to make future generations of EMTs and paramedics have a better like work conditions and pay and benefits. Like, say if you decide to make this a career, I want that to actually be a plausible thing, because what, the United States is one of the few countries in the Western world where being a career paramedic is not a feasible thing to do.